It's an early start, but Footscray won't mind. Back in October, they thought they would cease to exist when a merger with Fitzroy was announced. But the league hadn't counted on the fanaticism of the supporters, who gathered in numbers at a rally at the Western Oval. Their donation of funds helped the club to survive. So here they are tonight, still the Footscray Bulldogs, still in the red, white and blue, and determined to uphold the supporters' faith. New coach Terry Wheeler is Footscray through and through.
To return to the Western Oval, where I've spent the last 17 years of my life, I'm really looking forward to the challenge, and I'll be doing my utmost to make it a successful period here.
The Tigers are also determined to get away to a good start, having finished on the bottom of the ladder last year, and having had to fend off the perception that they were on the skids. Coach Kevin Bartlett is guiding a club with 80 years behind it.
I've always believed that once the colours are up and you're representing the club, well then always at stake is the pride and the prestige of the club, and therefore you should give your best all the time.
Good evening and welcome to VFL Park for Seven Sports' first football telecast for 1990. And of course, the start of the new decade means that football is now being played under the banner of the AFL, which changed its name in the off-season. Tonight's match is a first-round contest in the Foster's Cup, a rich tournament, and the Foster's Cup tonight, or for the season, worth $312,000. Great way to get underway. Well, last year, late in the season, Footscray were faced with extinction, having finished second last on the VFL ladder last year. Richmond finished bottom of the ladder, so both teams have a lot to prove tonight, and they'll be keen to get the season 1990 off and running in a positive manner. Well, we've already met the coaches. Let's take a look at the men in charge of both clubs, and we see at Footscray Terry Wheeler, the new coach, and Doug Hawkins becomes the third captain in 3 seasons, the favourite son of the Western Oval. At Richmond, no change, Kevin Bartlett, and Dale Waitman is the captain for tonight. Joining me in the commentary box tonight, Ian Robertson and Don Scott. Evening, boys.
Good evening, Drew.
Ian.
Pleasure to be here, Donny.
My word,
Last time we did this was London, huh?
And different weather too.
Only seemed like yesterday.
But it's going to be a good game tonight, I think, because both these sides have got a bit to prove.
Yeah, well, I'm wrapped that Footscray have been able to survive, and just looking at their full back line, Hoggett, good young player, Harrington and Tatzaris against Lee, Stockdale and Nichols for the Tigers. How does that look to you?
Well, I had a criticism last year of Footscray. I thought they were a little bit too defensive, especially on the back line, and they really didn't give their forwards an opportunity. But looking there, we've got Wigney, I was very impressed with last year, and they say he's much fitter. Wallace, well, interesting to see him lining up there, but Mitchell, interesting that he's come back after that injury last year. He came back on about the 15th of January to join.
Yeah, scintillating player is Michael Mitchell. This could be the 2 lines that could win or lose the game across the centre line here at VFL Park. If the Footscray centre line, Terry Wallace in the centre and Hawkins, their new skipper, against the likely lineup there of Richmond centre.
Just interesting looking at the lineups. We should also tell the viewers that the players are versatile nowadays, and they could line up anyway. This is the way we think they will line up, and Foster could be at centre half back, for example. Nixon centre half forward, normally a back, normally a ruckman.
And Footscray is one of their recruits for the season, Glenn Coleman, who's had a couple of sides already in the competition. Young Campbell, an up-and-comer. Now we have the followers up. Atkins, a Footscray player, with Cousins doing the ruck work against Honeybun and Lambert.
Well, there's quite a buzz of excitement here. A lot of people can't wait for the football season to start. Here we are on the 7th of February, and naturally Footscray, I think, will get the bulk of the support tonight after nearly going out of business late last season. We'll be back for the kick-off to season 1990 shortly.
It's so very important for Richmond and Footscray to win tonight, and I must say VFL Park looks a real picture. The forecast is for a fine night with the possibility of showers later on. The temperature is 22.2 degrees Celsius, the relative humidity 66%, the wind, slight swirling winds, but no real goal advantage for either side, and the ground conditions excellent, the best I've seen for a long time.
Michael Roberts on the boundary line, and he'll be joined during the evening by Peter McKenna. Quickly, a couple of the rules that'll be different for this season Foster's Cup. The automatic adding of time on at the signal of the boundary and goal umpires is a change, and charging of an opponent has come down from 5 metres to 3 metres. And if the scores are level, extra time will be played, 5 minutes each way. Remember the game last year, Eagles and Hawthorn, where they played on to get a winner. The umpires are wearing microphones this year for the Foster's Cup, and season 1990 gets underway.
Here we go, the Tigers versus the Bulldogs. And already there's a free kick being picked out of it at the centre bounce. Before the ball is bounced, the ball will go to Mark Lee. And there's a jostle for behind play. It could be Hawkins involved, but Lee's kick goes up towards half forward, and the mark has been taken by Tatsaris. Tatsaris towards the member side, and there's the captain, Dougie Hawkins. What a player he's been for the Bulldogs. Onto the left foot. The kick is a bit of a bad one. It goes up towards half forward. Cullen swoops on the ball for Footscray. Onto that favoured left foot. Cullen goes long towards full forward. Out in front, Campbell takes the mark, and he's about 46 metres from goal.
It's interesting, those two players in the altercation as Campbell plays on quickly into the forward pocket. It's Wallace down there.
Wallace, struggle. McGuinness goes for goal. The snapshot is wide. Out of bounds on the full, and the free kick to be taken by Richmond.
Those two players in the altercation, Nixon and O'Keefe, playing on each other, respective forward pocket and back pocket players.
And they spent the first minute of the game not even watching each other. Well, it's a poor kick in and straight onto the chest of Atkins, just outside 50.
Many changes, Drew, as the teams didn't line up as we expected to. Too many, too numerous to mention.
Atkins going for the first goal of the year. Not a bad-looking kick, just offline for a minor score. 2 behinds to Footscray.
I suppose the notable change is Foster at centre-half back position.
1 behind to Footscray. McGuinness's first shot for goal missed.
Richmond interchange there was Gary Frangalis, as the kick-in is taken by Lees out wide. Mitchell, what a scintillating player he is. Knights is well tackled, goes back after it. Intercepting is Eccleston. He's a goer for Footscray. Now Mitchell swoops on it. He can't break clear. The pressure's pretty good. The player now with the ball is Craig Smith. Craig Smith for the Tigers. Kicks the ball into the centre. Chipping in nicely and taking the mark is Foster. And a little late on the scene was Goodwin. Foster gets around the opposition player, and Foster goes for goal. The long kick in towards full forward. Is a chance for Footscray, but the kick by Lees. Now it's kicked off the ground, but it may have been over the line. No, it's hit the post, and it's another behind on the scoreboard to Footscray. There's Terry Wallace, a prolific possession gatherer for Footscray, and Egan on the interchange bench there for Richmond as well. The kick in goes towards Lee. He punches the ball on. Swooping on the ball is Cullen. Hand pass over the top. Brunner can't take the possession of the ball. Stephen Wallace pushed off it. Now Ryan's under lots of pressure. Here's a chance now for Coleman. He gets the ball to McGuinness. The tackling's pretty good for the first match of the season. Kick off the ground. Knights on the top of the ball, and he's been interfered with there by Terry Wallace, and surely the free kick will go to Matthew Knights right on that full back line.
And as you expect, a very enthusiastic start by both these sides. Here we see Terry Wallace, no doubt about that.
Kick in, almost straight up the ground. Bouncing for Ryan, gets the hand pass away. McKellar, his kick up towards centre wing on the new AFL logo there. Wigney, just inside the boundary line, sweeps the hand pass to the favourite son, Dougie Hawkins. Gets around Waitman, the opposing captains tonight. And poor kick, and it's on the chest of Smith. Smith goes across the ground. No gain in territory, but kept possession to Ryan. Open play up on the outer side, Richmond here. Short pass up the ground finds Michael Thompson, the ex-bomber. Long kick to centre half forward. Over the top. No mark taken. In goes Mitchell. We thought we might never see him in footy again. Mitchell gets the hand pass away. Waitman goes out wide with the hand pass. Snapped by Honeybun. Offline, no score. Out of bounds on the full.
If we go back to the centre-half back position, bad play then by Hogg. He tried, a little fellow, he tried to mark over the back, should have punched the ball forward.
The short kick goes towards Harrington. Harrington's at half back for Footscray. Left foot kick now by Harrington towards centre wing. No mark taken by Wigney. Ball at the back. Craig Smith. Little short kick is pretty effective. It finds Lee. Lee goes up towards the 50-metre line. Kicks up towards full forward. But the kick, it's a free kick.
Now, there was a shepherd too far away, I think I heard the umpire say, so that's the first application of that one.
Right, fair enough. And the free kick taken by Hogg for Footscray. Kicks the ball wide towards centre wing. High over the top. Cousins couldn't take the ball. Now's a chance for Coleman, who's been prominent early for the Bulldogs. His third VFL club. Goes towards O'Keefe. Punched away by Nixon. Brunner, good play. Over to McGuinness. McGuinness up inside 50 metres. A poor kick by Tony McGuinness. The mark nearly taken by Lees. Cullen
dropping the ball, attempted kick off the ground, and it's rushed through for a behind, and Cullen expresses his disappointment to the umpire.
It's good combination work between Brunner and McGuinness on that outer flank. Brunner looks as if he's got a little bit of pace.
Well, we haven't had a goal kick yet, but hasn't it been frantic to start the season? Comes off to Knights, goes for the short passes, beautifully delivered. That's a magnificent kick. Richmond running away with Ryan, up towards centre half forward, all Footscray. Foster couldn't mark, comes to Waitman. Waitman standing start, spears the pass up, well delivered, and the mark is taken by James.
It's amazing how players look different from one season to the other. Bomber James looks as if he's fine down, obviously put in a big pre-season.
Just inside 50 metres. His left footer is offline. So still we don't have a goal on the board.
Yes, that was probably bad play there by James. Well within scoring distance. He should have capitalised.
That's it.
And you don't often get chances from that distance. Harrington, the Footscray player. By the way, the black armbands are in remembrance of one of the young Footscray players who unfortunately tragically killed in a water skiing accident on New Year's Day, and that was Ron James. And what a bad loss that was for Footscray and his teammates tonight, wearing the black armbands in remembrance of Ronnie James. The ball out of bounds on the Footscray half-forward line, Richmond half-forward line rather, on the members' side. Lee doing the ruck work, Cousins. The ball comes out the back. Smith, who's about third or fourth possession early in the game. This kick is a bit offline and goes over the boundary line. And Don, that's one of the things that's pretty obvious early. The kicking has been poor so far in this match.
Well, yeah, it's only natural, isn't it? It's the 7th of February, unless they've been working on it for a number of weeks. And you've got to remember, a pre-season or first game, they've been kicking the ball for nearly 6 weeks and into club games. So naturally enough, skill level down a bit.
Okay, Honeybun doing the ruck work this time against Cousins. The ball at the bottom of the pack. Footscray striving hard in defence. Wigney can't break clear. Good smother by Waitman. Comes out to Foster. Gather by Goodwin. Collect by Wigney is good play. And somehow he finds his way through that very, very busy traffic. The ball comes out towards centre wing. It's on half back, rather. And Cullen takes the mark for Footscray.
Kick by Cullen up over the wing. And an excellent mark taken by Coleman. Well, that's why Footscray picked him up in the national draft last November. They wanted marking. How he's played on and run out of bounds.
Well, that's typical Glenn Coleman, isn't it? He'll do something good, which was a great mark, and then he decided to play on, not realising where he was. Out of bounds, you lose the ball.
Well, bad mistake that for the Bulldogs. Boundary throw in. Slipped out the back. Play on, is the umpire going to call? No, Footscray free kick. He's coming back here to Atkins. On centre wing, there's the AFL logo. The venue still called VFL Park though. Atkins to centre half forward. Was that a push out? Play on, rules the umpire. At the back, Pym. Short of centre wing. Punched away from Mitchell. Great courage shown there, and a free kick to Footscray.
O'Keefe.
Played 9 games last year. Spears this one in low, but straight to the opposition onto the chest of Michael Thompson.
Thompson is between fullback and centre halfback. Goes out to the outer side. Long kick. Punch away. Now there's a chance for Footscray through Hunter. Gets it on to McGuinness. McGuinness a little chip. Wallace, that's Terry, overruns the ball. And in the back pocket for Richmond, Lees takes the ball over the boundary line for throw-in. A couple of young Tiger supporters interested here at VFL Park in their team's future. Lee gets a ball down. Here's a chance now for Lambert. Attempted hand pass wide. Goes to Knights. Good young player, Matthew Knights. Kicks the ball into open space. Leading in the race for the ball is Ryan. Cullen, a good tackle. Ball comes out the back. Now an opportunity for young Hamilton. He gets the ball to McKellar. McKellar's kick up towards half forward. Attempted mark there by Kieran. He can't mark. Wigney, strong player Wigney, and he's rewarded for his efforts with a free kick. Plays on quickly, gets the short pass out to Stephen Wallace.
Gee, quite a lot of solid bumps going on here, and there's nothing like match play. Don't know how long they'll go at this pace. Centering kick by Hawkins to centre half forward. Flipped through the pack by Campbell. Brunner. VFL debut at 25. Up to Atkins. Down towards the forward pocket. McGuinness outnumbered 2-1. And Lees makes sure the ball goes out of bounds in Richmond's back pocket.
He's figuring prominently, Brunner. laying some great tackles in the forward pocket, using his pace, and also has got his awareness, or has got great awareness of players around, as evidenced by that handball.
Chance here for Footscray to get the first goal of the night. Through goes Terry Wallace. Can't gain control. O'Keefe loses it. Comes out the back. Smith, who's been prominent, goes to Thompson. Thompson to the far side of the ground. Mitchell stays at the back and is outmarked beautifully. Good mark by Eppleton.
Eppleton's short kick, centering. Cousins doesn't mark. Quick with the left foot, up towards full forward. Safe mark taken in the last line of defence there by Pym. He plays on quickly, kicks it wide, looking out there for Ryan. Good collect by Atkins. Left foot kick into the pocket, punch away by Lees's good defensive work. Pym, gather again by Atkins. Was that a drop kick? No, the ball has to go back. Hard up against the boundary line where the field umpire has awarded Don. Was that a free kick to young Pym? Yes, a little difficult push in the back. The short kick has been marked by Wallace. That's Terry Wallace. And he's out of the centre by the look of it, Terry Wallace, in that forward pocket or maybe half forward flank. Big punch there by the Richmond defence, and it goes through for another rush behind to Footscray.
5 metres, thanks, Footscray.
Well, Footscray having most of the attack, but 4 behinds to 1 behind. Kick to a big pack on the far side. Cousins punches away from Lee. Comes to Terry Wallace, whose hand pass is blocked by Mitchell, and the ball out of play. Well, Michael Mitchell played just a handful of games at the start of last season, but a series of knocks to the head. He was ruled unfit for the rest of the year, went back to Western Australia, and we wondered whether we'd ever see him back. But here he is on the 7th of February. Smith takes the ball over the line, and we'll have a throw-in. So that's great news, because he's an exciting player, Michael Mitchell, and is the sort of player who might fire the Tigers to move up the ladder after they ran last year, mostly without his services. Atkins knocks the ball back outside 50. Steve Wallace, last year's captain, lost the role this year to Hawkins. Back to Wallace, but he was in all sorts of trouble. Knights threads out a good hand pass. Lambert, who loves the hand pass game. Away go the Tigers, up towards centre half forward. Poor old kick though, it bounces through the pack. Who's first back there? Hunter. And a great kick across the ground to his skipper. Hawkins down the broadcast wing. Puts it up short. Bounces well for O'Keefe, but he fumbles. Back to Hawkins. Hawkins, subterranean hand pass is good. Cullen over the top, finding space, Footscray. This is a good build-up. Wigney up from defence. Man on his own is Terry Wallace, and he's marked about 45 metres from goal.
Testing.
2 minutes, Michael.
Actually, that was a great build-up. I was interested in Doug Hawkins, the way he kicked the ball, then ran on. Haven't seen Doug Hawkins do that at all last year, maybe because he was injured.
Terry Wallace's kick into the goal square. Could even be a goal. Has that gone over the top? I'd say yes. It has. Goal.
There are 50 states in America, but some airlines can't fly you to anywhere near 50. Fact is, some airlines just fly you from Australia to the West Coast, then you're on your own. But one airline flies you to the States in the world's newest aircraft.
Welcome to America.
Then on to 200 American cities. United Airlines.
Welcome to United's friendly skies.
Fly United and discover what's new in the friendly skies.
So Terry Wallace in picture, the sole goal scorer for the match so far. Bulldogs leading by 9 points. Bounce back in the centre, punch out by Lee. Hand pass over the top. Smith smothered when he tried to gain possession. Now Footscray come forward again through Stephen Wallace. Up towards full forward. No mark taken. Tigers under pressure on the last line of defence. Nixon gathers the ball pretty well. The President, hand pass over the top, goes out wide to Lees. Lees, a short pass, is effective and finds Lambert. Lambert, left foot pass out wide towards Mitchell. Can he outrun Eppleton? The race is on. Mitchell trying to gather the football. Eppleton, good pressure. Hard up against the boundary line. Mitchell looking for a free kick. Or looking for sympathy from the boundary umpire maybe. But we'll have a throw in between wing and half forward favouring the Tigers.
He's got explosive pace, Michael Mitchell. As we saw John Schultz on screen, what a great player he was.
Very congested pack here. Through goes Mitchell. The hand pass eventually out from Kieran. Chopped off by Steve Wallace for Footscray. Back to centre wing. Coleman can't take the mark. Through goes Mark Lee. Eventually Knights with a hand pass in field. Charging onto that one is Powell. Caught. Comes to Terry Wallace. He's kicked just over the centre. Oh, excellent mark. A beauty by Nixon.
What a great tackle by young Hogg there just a few seconds ago, Drew.
Nixon from the back of the centre square, only up to the centre circle, so not much distance, especially when they've lost control of the ball. Nixon will have to do it again. Does so this time to the front of the square. It's knocked on, but Hawkins has got a bit of space here. Gets a run from Steve Wallace. Wallace wide for Cullen. Cullen will now have to become the tackler. And that was well played by young Greg Hamilton. Off to McKellar. McKellar at centre wing. Up towards centre half forward he goes. Lambert. Hawkins, great skills.
Terrific play by Dougie Hawkins. He's creating lots across the half-back line and centre wing. Oh, shocking tackle by Goodwin. And Hawkins has the last laugh, and that man's got a bit of a black eye. Number 14 for Richmond is young Darren Kieran. The ball from Foster goes up towards half forward. Wallace gathers well. That's Terry Wallace. Out wide to Cullen, promising player. McGuinness is on the end of the chain of hand passes. McGuinness goes long, kicks it wide, gives Campbell a chance to run at it. Lee's the defender. Campbell talented. Can he gain possession? Yes. Onto the right foot. The short pass? No, it's a little high. And it goes across the face, and frustration on the face there of Stephen Wallace as Richmond will take the free kick in the back pocket.
I'll give him the benefit of the doubt. I think he was looking for that player, his teammate, but the ball just had too much carry on that occasion. He could have definitely gone for goal from that position.
Dale Waitman, the Richmond captain for this evening. Tigers yet to announce their captain for season 1990. The ball at half forward for Footscray. Nixon striving hard. Brunner's in there for Footscray. He gathers the ball, but the umpire's whistle is gone. So we'll have a ball up on the 50-metre line for Footscray, well within scoring distance.
Kevin Bartlett watching intently. The loser here has got a pretty tough start to the season. Nice little hand pass out here to Hawkins. Hawkins centering kick. Campbell, good mark.
Gee, that's developing into a fantastic players, both very talented players. Campbell, who had 21 goals last year, Footscray's leading goal kicker, a really talented, well-built footballer, very athletic, and Lays, who was rejected by Hawthorn, fourth in the club's best and fairest, and really proving himself a tight league defender.
Doesn't say a lot for Footscray's attack last year when 21 goals was their leading goal kicker. Maybe things will be different this year under Terry Wheeler. Mike Malthouse has departed to go to Perth. That's a poor kick by Campbell for a behind.
Yes, he hasn't got much for his efforts, has he? Campbell gathering the ball in that forward pocket just a few minutes ago. And kicked it over the head of Steve Wallace, and there an opportunity, a bad miss. Lees for Richmond to kick in, goes to the outer side. Running onto it there was Lee. Waitman, where a rover should be, at the bottom of the pack. The quick kick goes towards Mitchell, but Eppelston doing a pretty good job on Mitchell. Smothers the ball over the boundary line. Not a bad crowd here either, Don, for the first match of the season.
No, a good crowd, obviously because of Footscray's plight, but just interesting watching Michael Mitchell. They're a little bit frustrated. He hasn't played football for nearly 12 months and just can't get the touch of the ball at the moment.
Coleman, Smith, Ryan. And it finishes up with McKellar for Richmond. He's wide of centre. McKellar with that, what would you call that, an unusual hairstyle? Peculiar hairstyle?
I was going to call it a shocking hairstyle.
Or an Alan McKellar hairstyle.
If you had one, you'd give it back.
Alan McKellar for the Tigers, over the centre, up towards centre half forward. Mark taken by Cousins, plays on Eppelston. Steve Wallace is stolen by Mitchell. Brilliant play by the Tiger small man, and Honeybun takes the mark. He's a little too far out to score, David Honeybun, looking to play on quickly. Kicks it up towards full forward. Opportunity there for James. Swooping on it is Waitman. Oh, was that in the back against Wigney? No, play on, says the umpire. Steve Wallace on the bottom of the pack for Footscray, and the umpire will come in and ball it up.
Yeah, claims for an in the back there, didn't he?
It was very tight, I would have thought, but umpire Carland on this occasion, and umpire Coates, the other central umpire officiating. And a ball up, only metres from the Tiger goal. Kick out by Hogg. Out towards centre half-back. Mitchell can't mark. Kick by Smith. Long kick is a goal to Richmond.
In 1889, Duckham started making this product. Since then, it's helped achieve the impossible. altitude records, world land speed records, and that great engineering breakthrough, the East-West engine. Today, this extraordinary product is so good.
The oil, sir.
That Duckham's will actually double your car's engine warranty. Duckham's Oil, double your engine warranty.
Been a good player, Craig Smith, playing in the centre tonight for the Tigers. Bounce back in the centre. Lee wins the tap and keeps on going with it. Hurried kick by Steve Wallace. Tackle was too high. Advantage is not being played here. It's coming back to Steve Wallace, about 50 metres back. Actually, maybe the umpires this season might change their interpretation, perhaps, of the play-on rule. It caused a lot of controversy last year. Now they move it up towards half-forward, and there's a push in the back. And a free kick here to Eccleston. Told to play on. Pym comes at him. Just gets a touch on him. Play on again. Spears the pass in low to Campbell, who dives to mark.
And it's great to see a fullback. The fullback on that occasion, Tim Harrington, coming up to the wing. He initiated that play. It takes a lot of courage to run, as Harrington did, down the ground. He created the opportunity to Eccleston, finally with Campbell. It's good to see the fullback running down the ground.
I hope this guy realises his true potential. What a great player he can be for Footscray.
Going for his first goal of the night. Distance about 40 metres. Well, he's hooked it very badly for another behind. Bernie Quinlan loves him. He comes from Traralgon.
Gee, they've bred a few down that way, haven't they? In the Latrobe Valley in general, but Traralgon specifically. Terrific stuff. Lees again to the outer side. Mitchell flying high from in front. It's punched away by Eccleston. Punched away by Thompson. Over the top goes Pym. Underneath it, Lambert. Brunner late on the scene. Good defensive work by the Rover. And McGuinness striving hard. Can't control the ball. It goes over for a boundary throw-in.
Brunner gets the opportunity to go up the ground, Ian, because he's working well. He works well in the forward line. Let's see what he can do around the ground.
Coleman. Kick off the ground by Atkins. Is wide. Out of bounds on the full, as signalled by the boundary umpire, and the free kick will go to Pym. He's between back pocket and half back, just outside the 50-metre line. Chris Pym kicks the ball towards centre wing. Marking contest, no one can control it. Goodwin gathers the ball, tackled by Cousins. Ball comes out the back rugby style. Knights has possession, can't break away, and the field umpire very quick to jump in there, as perhaps he could see something brewing. And a bounce will take place between centre wing and half forward, favouring the Bulldogs. A free kick in that ruck contest. It's going against Cousins. Couldn't see that, Don.
My word, it was there, and Lee starting to dominate that position. It's good to see Lee putting himself in. Cousins will have to get in front, put his body in more.
Lee's hand pass goes to Thompson. Thompson's kick towards half forward. Foster nearly takes a freakish mark. Courage shown by Hogg. Opportunity now for Knights. Onto the left foot goes Matthew Knights. Up towards full forward, and nearly a spectacular mark taken by James. It's not paid. Play on goes Honeybun. Right foot kick across his body is perfect. Goal, David Honeybun.
Nobody knows Melbourne like 7.
In a dramatically changing world, yesterday's news service just isn't good enough anymore.
Each day, about 1,500 East Germans are...
There are new issues, new problems, new priorities.
The company says its daily emissions are below.
You need a news service that's part of this new world. Up to date, professional, ready.
More bad news on the economy.
You need 7 nightly news. Today's news.
Well, Richmond believed this week that everybody was talking about Footscray, and nearly everybody forgot that there was another team playing. And Richmond have now hit the front. The tap down comes to Terry Wallace. He's kicked no distance. He was knocked over and will get a free kick.
He made sure the umpire saw that.
Well, he was a failure at Richmond after a long career at Hawthorn, but in 2 seasons at Footscray, he's won the club best and fairest, Terry Wallace. Here's a good defensive mark to Richard Nixon, the president. Back he goes with the hand pass to Pym. High kick over half-back flank. Hawkins with Ryan, pushing the back. Free kick to Doug Hawkins.
He's a different player, isn't he?
Well, the captaincy might do Doug Hawkins the world of good. He's played 220-odd games of league football, and he's been around a long time. 222 games, started in 1978. Campbell climbs high. All Richmond at the back. Lees punches out. All Footscray ground level. Wallace kicked well smothered. Close to the boundary line. McGuinness good gather. He was out. Ball was in. What a goal! Sensational goal by Tony McGuinness, and Footscray back in front, 2-6 to 2-1.
Well, very hard to describe that goal. You've just got to see that. A picture, this is where a picture is worth 1,000 words. Fantastic. Now watch this. He's a left foot kick, but the ball on the right side of his body, and it goes from left to right. Absolutely fantastic skill.
CLASS. Class. Written all over that. Great play by McGuinness. Footscray, 5 points in front. Waitman towards full forward. The kick is slightly astray. Tatsaris, left foot kick under pressure. Out wide, Eccleston. Right foot kick goes high. Gathers about 40 metres, and a great mark taken by Steve Wallace, and he's playing pretty well too. The hand pass goes wide to McGuinness. Over the top, Coleman. Crashing his way through as goes Glenn Coleman up towards full forward. The ball will bounce through. It does, but just to the right side of the goalpost. Unfortunately for the Bulldogs, a behind is the score.
They're running a lot better, Foots.
They've played well, 9 scoring shots to 3.
They're running a lot better off the back line. It's already evident. Last year, very static back line. Didn't give the forwards the opportunity to score goals. This year, they're running better, or early in this game anyway.
Lee's kick in gave Smith a bit of a problem, but eventually finds Hamilton up towards the centre of the ground, and the mark taken by Goodwin. Wide open forward line, Andy Goodwin. Poor kick though, straight to Hogg, who takes an uncontested mark. Matthew Hogg of Footscray. Back to centre wing. Foster on all fours, but the ball held in there by Goodwin, and the umpire will ball it up. Now, one thing to notice that's different, now that we have an AFL, the umpire's socks are different.
Well, there you go. You're very observant, aren't you? And that umpire with the different socks is about to bounce the ball on centre wing on the outer side. Lee in front, can't do much with it, but umpire decides that a free kick should be given to Mark Lee. A little fortunate, I would have thought. The ruckman contesting it pretty well. The kick towards half forward, Goodwin can't mark. He was in front of Foster. The ball comes out somehow. Hogg's on the end of it. The kick in towards the centre, and the mark is taken by O'Keefe, but the siren has sounded, and O'Keefe is in the centre of the ground, so he gives the ball up to the central umpire. And at quarter time, Footscray lead by 6 points. The Bulldogs 2-7-19, lead Richmond 2-1-13.
Footscray in that first quarter, 9 scoring shots to 3, but they lead by just 6 points. Goals to McGuinness and Terry Wallace, and for Richmond, goals to Craig Smith and David Honeybun. Down on the boundary line and snooping on the coaches, Peter McKenna and Michael Roberts.
Well, Kevin Bartlett said keep attacking, going hard for the ball. They're breaking down terribly across the half-forward line, so he wants his forwards to play in front. And there's a slight breeze out here, so he wants to go straight down the middle at VFL Park.
Terry Wheeler, on the other hand, he's very, very happy with the commitment. Great example shown by the captain Hawkins, and he asked them to go straight down the middle also. Keep up the hard work. They're breaking down up forward. Use the ball a little bit better up forward. And they found out you're allowed a handball from a free kick tonight, and Footscray knew nothing about it. So that's an interesting point.
You might have seen the logos on the teams out there. Tonight's match is also being played for the .05 Challenge Cup, both teams being sponsored by the Transport Accident Commission. Mark Lee getting a feel of the ball. There's Glenn Coleman, former Fitzroy, Sydney Swan, picked up in the national draft last November. A pretty entertaining first quarter of football.
My word, it had a lot of everything there. A very good endeavour early, great tackling, finishing off the latter part of the quarter with good skill.
So the second quarter about to start here at VFL Park. Footscray holding the advantage. They're 6 points in front. Lee gets the tap down. Waitman can't get his foot to the ball. Lee, tunnel ball style. McGuinness, Atkins, can't get his foot to it. Lambert, Atkins again. Sneaking on it was Knights. Dispossessed by Hogg. Umpires picked the free kick out. It looks as though it's going to Footscray. Well, umpire picked that one out. And the Tiger player there Craig Lambert looking a little nonplussed as well. The free kick will go to Matthew Hogg in the centre of the ground. Matthew Knight's shaking his head.
The way the umpire indicated it was dropping the ball.
Well, it was pretty keen stuff there at that centre area. The kick up towards full forward, mark taken by Campbell. Now Campbell, I mentioned in the first quarter, enormous potential. Look at the build, 189 centimetres tall, brilliantly put together. So let's hope he can capitalise here. He's about 50 metres from goal. Floating kick is going to fall short. Mark taken by Brunner. Wallace it is. Well, Terry Wallace, determined look on his face there as he took that chest mark. And Wallace is only, what, 12 metres from goal. Wallace has kicked one. Drop punt kick. He hits the post.
Well, kick one from 45 metres and missed from about 20.
Well, it wasn't a good kick off the boot by Campbell, but playing in front as Terry Wallace did, you reap the reward, you gather the crumb. A good mark, bad finishing off.
McKellar back there in the back pocket for the Tigers. 20 plays 13. Footscray in front, early stages of the second quarter. Interference by both ruckmen, neither got it. Down goes Eccleston in the back. Clearly hear the call from the umpire, so free kick to Greg Eccleston on the wing tonight. Kick by Eccleston, up inside half forward. Campbell again. Oh, it's Coleman. Well, they have got some marking power on the forward line between Campbell. Coleman's taken a couple.
Seemed to take that off the hands of Campbell on that occasion, but then again, he controlled it, brought it to ground.
Chance for Footscray to get a bit of a break here. Coleman's kick is good.
Who can you bank on here on the land? Who will be there when you need a hand? Who can you bank on, come rain or come shine, when you've bent your back time after time? Who can you bank on? Who can you trust? You can bank on Westpac, you can bank on us.
Glenn Coleman kicks his first goal and Footscray's third. And the Bulldogs lead by 13 points. Cousins doing the ruck work. Mark Lee. Cousins gets the tap out. Lambert can't break clear. Goodwin tries to handball it to himself. McGuinness is caught well. Smith the hand pass. Lambert now out wide to the advantage of Hamilton. Hamilton's kick. He was pushed in the backs as the umpire as he was about to kick. And the free kick will go to Greg Hamilton.
Now that is not the black makeup that they've sometimes worn at night. That is a shiner.
Hamilton's kick is fairly direct towards the front of the goals. Footscray defenders under pressure. Hawkins back there. Taps the ball away. Gathered by James. Hand pass over the top. No one home. Mitchell. Lambert. Can't get the hand pass away. Harrington runs into a brick wall in the form of Matthew Knights. Knights is in there again. Hogg does the good tackle. Atkins controls the ball pretty well. Simon Atkins, a left foot kick towards centre wing. And is that a mark? It's been paid by the central umpire, and it will go to Ryan for Richmond. Ryan's kick out wide, close to the boundary line, and the mark is taken by Powell.
Tim Powell told to play on. Goes for his kick, which is a wobbler down towards the boundary line. And it's run out by Tsatsaris for a boundary throw-in. So a chance for the Tigers. 50 metres from goal. Honeybun over the top. Oh, a good weaving by Lambert, the state representative, and what a good kick up towards the goal square. Tsatsaris, and forced over the line by Steve Wallace for a throw-in about 8 metres around from the behind post. Richmond in attack, trailing 3 goals 8 to 2-1. Early stages, second quarter. Good start to the Foster's Cup competition. Steve Wallace back to Hawkins, who's covering ground. His hand pass up to centre half back to Atkins. Across the half back line he goes. What a clever kick that was. Running onto it is Hunter. Hunter's kick over centre wing. Cullen is there with O'Keefe. 2 against 2 here. Cullen, good speed. But Nixon got rid of him and saw the ball out.
So it was a bit of David and Goliath there. Big Richard Nixon and the diminutive Mark Cullen. Footscray 26, lead Richmond 13. Coleman and Mark Lee doing the ruck work. Lee gets the tap down. It finishes up with Terry Wallace. He gets the hand pass back to Hawkins. Hawkins on the left foot in towards the centre. They all leave it at the back. Brunner kicks it quickly to within the 50-metre line. Campbell, can he gather? No. Lee's close checking, taps it to his own advantage and breaks away. Ryan Lees, the kick in towards centre half back, sets up Ryan. He takes a good mark, not paid. Hand passes off to Lambert. Lambert now, left foot kick up towards half forward, reading it pretty well was Wigney, and he takes the mark for Footscray at centre half back. He gets the hand pass away to Hawkins. Hawkins has probably had 15 touches so far, and the kick finishes up with Eccleston. He plays on quickly, onto the right foot. It slews off the side, back in towards the centre, and a good mark taken for Richmond by Hamilton. Hamilton's kick up towards half forward, punch away by Harrington. Ball comes out towards centre wing. Knights gathers the ball pretty well. Matthew Knights gets around his opposition, and the right foot kick high towards centre half forward, and a good mark has been taken there for Footscray by Foster.
Right there! Well, that's the advantage of Coleman joining Footscray. It allows Peter Foster to go back and do his work in defence at centre half back. Up to Coleman. It's punched away from him, but he regains. Well played by Glenn Coleman. Oh, a little tippy toe up towards centre half forward. O'Keefe from behind goes the spoil, comes up with the ball. Berry loses control of it, and Nixon for Richmond now. Gets the hand pass away. High tackle, but playing on with Smith. Gets it across to Pym. Bit of a dust up behind play, but the umpire's there to sort it out. Lee can't handle. Sockers it accidentally backwards. Now here they go again. Well played by Hamilton. Into Lambert. Something here for the Tigers. Craig Lambert approaches 50. Fires out a hand pass. It wasn't too good for the forwards. Whistle's gone, pushing the back. Richmond free kick to James.
Richmond have made a change. Kieran going off and coming on. Philip Egan. And also Footscray are making changes. And Stephen Kullanuk coming on. Showed a lot of promise, Kullanuk, as a youngster, but just hasn't gone on. Maybe a lack of confidence. But that was bad luck on that occasion. I mean, for the Footscray guy, because that was not good play by Lambert, and they were lucky to get out of it with that free kick.
Now James, distance just over 40 metres. No score, out of bounds on the full, and the free kick to be taken by Cousins.
Cousins' short kick, really a poor effort, and the spoiling done by Goodwin. And appealing for a free kick, which was tiggy touch with stuff. Goodwin running back. Foster just bumped him. Imran Khan, or the big fast bowler, was a Macram and Merv Hughes style. Just a slight dust up.
That was probably worth a free kick anyway, that one.
Well, his Merv probably thought so. But the ball is with Goodwin. 40 metres from goal for the Tigers. Andy Goodwin. The kick just off the side of his boot. It's out of bounds on the full. I would have thought that was pretty close to a behind, but the goal umpire and the boundary umpire confer. The free kick taken by Steve Wallace. He doesn't mess around. Kicks it out wide to half-back. Mitchell can't control the ball. And Eccleston, I repeat myself, is doing a pretty good job to contain Michael Mitchell. Half-forward flank for the Tigers. They trail by 13 points.
Lee wins the tap. Goes to Mitchell. What a great hand pass to Waitman. A dodge and a weave. A centering kick rather than a shot for goal. And a defensive mark taken by Tatsaris. Oh, he's wanting to play on. He's in trouble. Back he goes. And eventually out of it through Hunter. Hawkins in front. Goes to ground. He's really contested every issue. Honeybun's hand pass intercepted by Cullen. But the ball forced over the boundary line. And we'll have a throw in.
The tackling really becoming a feature of today's game, and these two sides really have improved on that aspect of their play. Some great tackles there.
Lambert gets out a 20-metre hand pass. Oh, clever by Waitman. Clever again. Brilliant play by Waitman. Sensational football. Almost tackled by his own man, Knights. Centering kick and a mark to Smith. Oh, what magnificent football by Waitman. Smith scored the Tigers' first goal. Chance now to get his second from just inside 50 metres. Margin 13 points at the moment. His kick's high and hasn't got the distance. Lee is there. Oh, good one, a good leap. But Foster out of defence.
Foster's kick out towards the half-back area. Punched on by Eccleston. Goes after it again, Greg Eccleston. Good gather, good tackle by Knights. Ball runs free, finishes up with James. Short kick. Has it gone far enough? Lambert has the ball, plays on quickly. Left foot shot by Lambert's a goal.
In 1899, Alexander Duckham started making this product. Since then, it's helped achieve the impossible. Altitude records, world land speed records, and that great engineering breakthrough, the East-West engine. Today, this extraordinary product is so good.
The oil, sir.
That Duckham's will actually double your car's engine warranty. Duckham's oil, double your engine warranty.
So Craig Lambert in the picture there. A quiet start, but boy, has he hopped into the game since about halfway through that first term. Lee gets the tap out, comes to McKellar, well tackled by Terry Wallace, but the free kick will go to McKellar. A high tackle by Steve Wallace. Hand pass goes wide to Smith. Smith goes long. A 50-metre kick up towards full forward. At the back, gathered by Egan. Egan goes for goal. It's off to the right and through for behind. 3-2 plays 3-8, and Egan already in the play. Harrington kicks it into halfback.
And the mark taken by Steve Wallace. Playing more of a defensive role in this game tonight. He's kicked to halfback flank, and Hawkins down from the wing takes the mark. Well, Doug Hawkins thought last October that he might be a Fitzroy Bulldog, but he's very proud to be skipper of Footscray. Kick by Kolonyuk up over the wing. And played by Ryan. And a bounce. And he lost it. Lambert might get it back to Ryan. Still with Lambert. That was a magnificent goal by Craig Lambert. Into Smith, who's been a top player. His kick inside half forward. Tsatsaris backs himself and gathers well. Oh, the ball jolted free. He might lose it here. Wigney to help. Here's the scintillating Mitchell. Tried to beat the paddock. Loses it. Kolonyuk gets the hand pass wide. Now a chance for Footscray. Foster. But a poor kick by Peter Foster. And the mark is taken centre wing by Greg Hamilton. He's kicked to centre half forward. Wigney underneath the ball. Taken at the back by Eccleston. Back over the centre circle. Coleman. Not this time. Cullen roving the pack. Overruns it. He's tapped out well to Ryan. Look at the pressure. Well, you can tell that both of these teams are having a real dip.
Oh, it's a good game, Drew, for such an early game. Even if it was mid-season, it's still a good game, and it's a compliment to players the way they're doing it.
Yeah, they're pretty desperate. McKellar has the ball for Richmond. Kicks it wide towards half forward. No mark taken. Spoiled by Eccleston. Opportunity for McGuinness. Hard up against the boundary line. Tony McGuinness kicks it in short. Gatherers by Smith. Hand pass long. Oh, puts Waitman under enormous pressure. Over the top went Holt. Kolonyuk to tidy up. Kolonyuk's kick wide. Running onto it is Coleman. Can't gather the bouncing ball. Goes after it again. Strong play by Ryan across the half-back line for Richmond, and his short kick finishes up with Pym. Pym plays on quickly. Left foot kick by Pym, close to the line. Mitchell tries to keep it in. He succeeds. The big crunch between Cousins and the Richmond player was Powell. The kick now for Footscray lands fortunately in the hands of Atkins.
Atkins on centre wing for the Bulldogs. 55-metre kick. Coleman. Good use of the body, but couldn't take the mark. Comes down to Hamilton. Off the ground, back up to Atkins. Puts the hand pass wide for Terry Wallace. Tries to dodge a player. Good tackle by Smith, who's nearly best on the ground. He's playing a top game. Ball out of play. A throw in just forward of the wing. Late in the second half, 6 points, second quarter, 6 points the difference, Footscray in front. Wallace gets the hand pass back to Foster. Foster measures off his pass, it's good. Hogg had it spent before he got it. Now Matthew Hogg up to half forward. Good punch away by Lees, but Campbell's after it. Great gather. On the turn, a left footer from 55 is well short. Good spoil back there by Hamilton. Well, that's good play by the youngster.
Now, there's an object lesson for youngsters. If you watched on that occasion, Lees and Campbell. Campbell in front, he had the ball punched away, but because he was in front, he was able to recover quicker than his opponent. They got the ball down.
That's why you were such a great coach. Up over the top goes Nixon and thumps it back over the boundary line. Now you've got a chance to say something there. Footscray interchange bench limbering up as it's close to the end of the first half here at VFL Park. Coleman, Honeybun, gets it down. Wallace intercepts, gets his foot to the ball, but the kick is ineffective. In the back pocket, Pym working hard. Thompson, hand pass over the top. Gee, that's risky stuff. Lees, out wide. Lambert, who's really controlled the centre, gets the ball out wide. Running onto it is Ryan. One bounce goes Des Ryan. He's got 15 metres clear. Kicks it in towards the centre, over the top of the head of Mitchell, but there's Lambert again. What a brilliant second term he's played. Lambert's kick towards half forward. The high flyers, Lee can't mark. Harrington there for Footscray, falls over at the critical stage, and Lee working overtime. McKellar, the hand pass to Smith again. Left foot chip by Smith. Oh, just a little bit too high. Struggling hard there, the Bulldog defenders. Hunter gets the hand pass out wide to Wigney, and Wigney will clear for Footscray. The left foot kick up towards centre wing. No, it slews off the side of his boot and just bounces in the field of play. Boundary throw in centre wing member side.
Oh, bowled wide then. 7 minutes remaining. Clock stops, ball out of bounds. Countdown resumes. McGuinness, Terry Wallace, Atkins, Steve Wallace, Coleman, high to half forward. O'Keefe is there but out of position. First back onto it, Nixon, but he fumbles. Losing ground all the time. Oh, he's kicked an own goal. And in Australian football, just like in soccer, it counts as one.
Terry Wheeler there in the picture, looking a little concerned. Lees kicks the ball into the member's side, out there looking for Honeybun, and Honeybun takes the mark on that half-back flank. David Honeybun has kicked one goal for Richmond. This kick is ill-directed, and the mark is taken by Coleman. Saw this guy doing some running around the streets of San Remo over the summer break with Bernard Toohey, one of his ex-teammates from the Sydney Swans. The kick goes up towards full forward, and concentrating on the ball was Campbell. Tried to burst his way through. The umpire's seen a free kick. Is it going to Campbell? It looks like it. And he's well within scoring distance. He's already kicked two behinds. And Lees, the disappointed Tiger defender.
You wouldn't want to be putting your house on this kick with Campbell, the way he's kicking tonight. He hasn't kicked too well for goal at all.
No,
then again, he is a good kick, and he could do it.
Well, Campbell will kick from about just inside 50. The drop punt kick looks pretty good. Goal umpire doesn't move. It's a goal to Footscray.
At Carlton and United, we normally like to show you how to enjoy our products in our commercials. But we realize there are times when you'd rather enjoy someone else's, like the pleasure of driving today's modern cars. All we ask is that you realize that drinking and driving can be a dangerous combination. Please think before you drink.
Campbell gets his first goal for the night. Back in the centre for the ball up, a 13-point lead to Footscray. McGuinness attempts one off the ground. Steve Wallace, who had to duck the tackle. Courage shown by Hogg, but it goes to Knights of Richmond. Now they're a chance. Nichols breaking away inside 50. Oh, great kick! Goal to Nichols.
There's a bit of a demonstration behind play on that occasion. The Footscray players, but it was to no avail because the goal stands. And Trent Nichols, who's come off the boundary line, number 22, reminds me of Barry Rawlings. And a great goal from this young fellow, and you've got to get the ball out of the centre, and Richmond did it very, very quickly on that occasion. Maybe Footscray could look at changing Charles off the bench and letting him have a run in the ruck.
So the margin back to 7 points after that quick reply by Nichols. McGuinness on the turn, putting it wide towards the outer side. Sprint on. O'Keefe and Nixon. And the ball out of play. Well, Footscray giving a good showing, and one person who'd be happy tonight would be Irene Chatfield, who was the person who took the league to court last year to get a stay in proceedings, and it was her motion to do that which virtually saved Footscray, and she led the parade from the Western Oval tonight. There was a fleet of buses, they all had a sausage sizzle out there, and she led the parade out in her car, decked in red, white and blue. Irene Chatfield.
Great stuff, though. Terrific stuff there. And here are her favourite boys, Dougie Hawkins combining with Terry Wallace to put the Bulldogs up into attack, but the mark is taken by Pym at the back of the pack. The kick goes across the goal. The bounce favours Smith. Drew has already mentioned the value of that player, and what a beautiful kick by Smith to find Egan in the centre of VFL Park. Philip Egan looking to play on, now sends a bomb, 55 metres up towards centre half forward. It's within goal scoring distance for the Tigers. Harrington for Footscray there to clean up. Hand pass long to Hawkins. Hawkins kick out wide. Terry Wallace takes the mark, and Honeybun a little late on the scene. The hand pass goes wide to McGuinness. He runs away from the big ruckman, and onto the right foot, Tony McGuinness kicks Footscray into attack up towards half forward. Nixon does a bit of bumping, and the kick will go to Nixon. Well, I thought he did the bumping, but Nixon favoured by the umpiring decision. Kicks it out wide to Thompson. Thompson's got a bit of space on centre wing. The shepherding will be done and behind there by his teammate. Thompson's kick up towards half forward. Mitchell can't mark. The ball at the back. Harrington, unsung hero for Footscray across the half-back line, gets it over to Wigney. Wigney round on the right foot. The kick slews a little bit off the side of his boot towards centre half forward. A good punch away by Ryan. Another punch on by Hamilton. Ryan there to help out. Atkins hand pass. Goes wide. Hunter there for Footscray. Left foot kick is perfect, and O'Keefe takes the mark about 65 metres from goal. O'Keefe's kick centering in towards centre half forward. Knights doing pretty well for Richmond. Comes away with the ball. Kicks it wide towards centre wing. About 3 minutes left in the turn. The hand pass from Honeybun goes to Nichols. Nichols into the forward pocket. Now the race is on. James, can he control it? Tatsaris from behind. James is still there. The ball underneath Stephen James. He can't get the ball out. Goodwin is there, and the Footscray defenders through Foster. James again close to the boundary line. Tatsaris is there for the Bulldogs, and eventually it's over for a boundary throw-in.
Gee, that ball is moving around pretty quickly. They've only played less than half a game. How will they go in the second half at this time of the season? Egan feeds out the hand pass to McKellar. Across the half-forward line, chance for Lambert. Got rid of his opponent, but Wigney runs onto it for Footscray. Goes for a bounce. Centres, which was good play. Up towards half-forward. Punch down comes to Kolonyuk. Beaten to it by Pym. Pym gets the hand pass away. And now they're out of trouble through Smith again. High to half-forward. 2-1 Footscray. And the men at ground level. Good hand pass out to Wigney from Hunter. Half-back flank Steve Wallace. Up to Terry Wallace, who takes the mark. Feeds off the hand pass to McGuinness. Footscray on the run. Time running out, just on 2 minutes left in the first half. Coleman hooks it up towards the forward pocket. All Footscray, but will they reach it? The ball beats Campbell out of play.
So Tony McGuinness was making position for that hand pass back then, didn't you think, Don?
Well, there is, but Coleman just wasn't in the position to give it on that occasion. Ian, I thought yes, and I thought his idea. Coleman, I really did think it went through his mind, but realised he just wasn't in that position, so he couldn't call it selfish play.
Okay, boundary throw in the Footscray forward pocket. Lee gets the hand pass out to Waitman. He goes back into defence. Hamilton, short kick in towards centre half back, marked by Ryan. Now Richmond are building something up. Smith, kick in towards the centre. Goodwin can't mark. There's another Tiger there. It's Nichols, and Nichols does pretty well to back up the big man. Nichols kick up towards half forward. Mitchell can't mark. Punch away by Eppleton, and Eppleton does pretty well and taps it over the boundary line for another throw-in.
They're both half-back flankers. Wigney on Egan and Eppleton on Mitchell. Now, they're both fast half-forwards, but those Footscray defenders doing exceptionally well.
Cousins, Goodwin. Cousins takes the front position, and crude effort there by Goodwin. Obvious free kick to the Footscray big man. Footscray missing young Scott Wynd, who is their #1 ruckman, but Cousins doing pretty well. His kick this time intercepted by Egan, and Egan takes it over for a boundary throw in on centre wing.
And Goodwin going off, not playing particularly well at centre half forward, and it's McLeod coming on. So a big job and a hard job at centre half forward.
Maybe a disciplinary move there by Kevin Bartlett early in the season. The hand pass over the top now. Thompson.
I should have said Stockdale, Ian. I'm sorry. Stockdale going to the centre half forward position. Well, he has played well there before. A good mark.
Young player, so Tigers trying a lot of their younger players in the first match.
Assumption College has been known to produce the odd footballer. Stockdale went there. Well, Lambert, too clever that time, and the hand pass out of play. Craig Lambert had a brilliant season last year, capped off with representing Victoria in that magnificent State of Origin game at the MCG. 56 seconds remaining to half-time. Knights to Mitchell. Mitchell goes back to Egan. Well, they've lost it. Terry Wallace, his hand pass astray. Mitchell to Knights, his kick astray. Hawkins in defence. To half-back, and Terry Wallace takes the mark. Half-back flank for the Bulldogs, who lead by 7 points. Wow, that kick has gone straight to the opposition. Matthew Knights takes the mark. Running out of time for Richmond to get a goal. Up short of half-forward, and especially with that defensive mark by Peter Foster. 20 seconds left.
Hand pass goes to Hawkins. Hawkins kick wide. Hunter can't mark, but he fights on pretty well when the ball hits the ground, and he's rewarded with a free kick at the half-back, centre half-back position. Mark Hunter. Long kick out wide towards centre wing. No mark taken. Ryan at the back, helped out by Smith. Siren sounds, end of the first half in the first AFL match for season 1990. And Footscray lead Richmond by 7 points. The Bulldogs 4-9-33, Richmond 4-2-26.
So they'd led by 6 points at quarter time, so they won that quarter by just 1 point. Single goal scorers, Campbell, McGuinness, Terry Wallace and Coleman. And for Richmond, Lambert, Craig Smith, Trent Nichols and David Honeybun have been their goal scorers. Entertaining start for the season, but there's still a lot of pain left in this game, and you can see the pain etched on the face of Peter Foster as he leaves. At half-time, Footscray 4-9-33, Richmond 4-2-26. So at half-time at VFL Park, Footscray 4 goals 9. They could have led by more had they kicked straight. 33, leading Richmond 4-2-26. Well, once again in this very rich Foster's Cup competition, the player of the series and the player each night is playing for a rich prize.
The Foster's Cup Player of the Series will win a return trip to Fiji flying Qantas with 7 nights accommodation at the magnificent Sheraton Fiji Resort. Travel arrangements courtesy of Elders IXL Travel.
So we have quite some responsibility in picking the player of the night and then the player of the series. That's a magnificent prize. Well, once again, a feature of our football telecast in the year 1990 will be Scott Palmer with his punchlines, and it's a pleasure to welcome you, Scotty Palmer. Good evening.
Good evening, Drew, and welcome everybody.
Yeah, and I suppose you've had a good Christmas and you've hardly had a chance to get it down before it's the 7th of February and we're playing footy again.
Wonderful though, Drew. Loving every minute of it.
Now, I understand there was a sensation tonight and an announcement about a drug test for league players.
Yes, the big question is, Drew, who'll be the first player to be handed one of these little bottles and then asked to stand in a corner? Because drug testing's with us right now. The league today announced that Dr. Tony Capes would become the new drug commissioner and tests would be carried out during the Foster's Cup matches.
What's their feeling? Do they really expect to ping some players?
Well, the players don't really know, Drew, how it's all going to work. I spoke to a few of them today. They've heard that it could be done on the Tats Lotto system, like a lottery. So someone will come in after the game and say, right, here are the numbers. 5, 7, 11, 25, 12, no sups, but that's the numbers. Hope you get it right.
Well, that's a Tats Lotto you wouldn't really want to win.
I hope not too, because on the Monday or the week after, they'll get the results, and I'm just hoping no one gets the letter in the mail, Drew.
And Scotty, I believe there's an attempt to overthrow the state's electors.
Well, not quite overthrow, but I suppose those state electors thought they were the safest men in football at the moment, with Teddy Whitten Barassi and Calvin Moore and Graham Richmond sort of doing such a wonderful job last year. But Collingwood today nominated Wayne Richardson to stand against them at the annual election. So one of those boys are going to be very shaky at the moment.
Now, there's been a lot of talk about the Bears. David Parkin, has he been spoken to?
Great deal of pressure has been put on David Parkin at the moment. I believe Ricky Graham, one of the big backers, has flown to Melbourne to talk to him. But my word is that David Parkin will stay in Melbourne and fulfil his obligations with the VFL.
Scott Palmer, once again the man with the news. What have you got to say, Scotty?
Keep punching, Drew.
All right. Scott Palmer on our telecast in 1990. Michael Roberts in the Richmond rooms.
Well, after a torrid first half, the Richmond players are definitely finding out the difference between training and match fitness. Bartlett had a quick word to Mark Lee and Dale Waitman. I think over the way the boys are trying to get the ball out of the centre, Richmond definitely lifted their work rate, starting to run the ball into the forward line by waves, but really dropped off with their tackling in that second quarter. But there's a lot of enthusiasm down here. They've been reminded that the situation they're in for the year, and there's a lot of football to go in the next half, and they're confident of winning.
In the Richmond rooms, Michael Roberts will be back with more from VFL Park after a short break.
Hi, I'm Stephen Laxton from the West Coast Eagles, and I'm really looking forward to this Saturday night's Foster's Cup match against Essendon.
This match tonight is a first-round match in the Foster's Cup, which is worth a lot of money to the teams who can advance right through. And the winner of tonight will meet last year's winner of the competition, Melbourne, who get a bye in the first round. So either Footscray or Richmond will go ahead to meet Melbourne. Essendon and West Coast play on Saturday, and Fitzroy and St Kilda play next week. Then in the bottom half of the draw, it's Carlton against Collingwood, and what a game that is in a first-round draw. Hawthorn against Sydney. Geelong get the bye because they played in the grand final of the night series last year, and they'll play the winner of the match between Brisbane and North Melbourne. I mentioned the prize money. Now have a look at this. First round loser, $5,000 tonight. Winner, 10. If you go right through, the winner of the grand final will be $50,000, and you've won a lot going through to that stage, so it is worth a lot of money in the Foster's Cup. In the Footscray rooms, here's Peter McKenna.
Yes, Drew, it's plenty of excitement down in the Footscray rooms. They're absolutely delighted with the efforts put in the boys so far, but they're very disappointed that they haven't got the goals on the board. They're particularly delighted with the form of Glenn Coleman at centre-half forward and young Adrian Campbell at full forward, but they certainly need a little bit more support down around the packs down in that forward pocket area. I think the interesting point was about that handballing from a free kick. Richmond were doing so in the first quarter. The Footscray club knew absolutely nothing about it. The rule has been changed. You are now allowed to handball from a free kick. Terry Wheeler is very delighted with the back line. They've put those Richmond forwards under tremendous pressure. Eccleston on Mitchell has been a great effort, and I think we're in for a great second half of football.
Good on you, Pete. Thanks. And we'll be hearing from Peter McKenna and Michael Roberts, of course, during the second half. Now a look at something coming up on the Australian television network in sports. And Sunday morning, Bruce McAvaney is joined by John Alexander and Dixie Marshall for another not-to-be-missed edition of Sports World. This weekend, Greg Norman, Curtis Strange, Nick Faldo and Jumbo Ozaki are looking for the pot of gold that lies on the greens of Mirage Port Douglas. It's the Nissan Super Skins, the richest, most exciting golfing event Australia's ever seen. Live on 7, the Nissan Super Skins, 1 p.m. in Melbourne, 12:30 p.m. in Adelaide and 10 o'clock in the morning in Perth. And the great golf continues next week with the Australian Masters live from Huntingdale in Melbourne. Greg Norman, Curtis Strange and Nick Faldo will be there, fresh from the Skins game, along with 89's big achiever Peter Senior, Roger Davis, past winner Ian Baker Finch, World Cup hero Peter Fowler, Wayne Grady and a host of other top contenders. The tradition continues from Thursday on 7. And it was good news for sports fans today when details of the television contract for the 1992 Olympic Games were announced.
The signing just a few minutes ago confirms the deal Seven has been preparing for 12 months. Chief Executive Bob Campbell says Seven won the rights to broadcast the Games with the promise of the best Olympic coverage yet. And time will be on Seven's side in Barcelona. Events run at midday there will be seen live in the early evening Australian time. Peter Beaton, 7 Nightly News.
And the Olympics, something to look forward to coming up on the Australian television network. Footscray leading by 7 points at half-time. We'll be back with the second half after this.